Welcome to 5% Radio, where it's all about learning like no one else today so you can live like no one else tomorrow. Please be sure to share and subscribe. Hello and welcome back to the 5% Radio podcast. Today is episode number 41, and I would have put out an episode last week, but it was absolutely crazy, and I figured that I would rather put out good content than rushed content. So although I publish episodes weekly, and I will catch up on that, last week I did miss, and I apologize for that. I actually had one of my local listeners here in the town that I live in walk up to me, and he's like, "Dude, did you not put out an episode on the podcast?" And I even had one of my friends who's from Alaska. He was in Ohio this past week, and he's like, "Did you skip a week?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I did. I apologize." So anyway, but today I wanted to talk to you about something. I was listening to a talk given by Ed Mylett years ago. He's a guy that has about a $500 million net worth. He's written several books. One of my absolute favorite guys to listen to as far as speeches. He has some really long speeches. He has some short ones. He's got some ones in between. He's got a podcast, The Ed Mylett Show. Phenomenal content. Now, I don't 100% as usual, what I say, I don't 100% subscribe to everything he teaches. And by that, I mean his views on his faith and some different things in there. There's always some pieces that you can glean from other people, but you don't have to 100% accept or believe everything that person teaches to gain wisdom or get nuggets from what they are saying. So with that caveat being there, I would check out his show, and I would go check out a lot of his YouTube videos because his teaching on success is absolutely spot on. It's some of the best content out there as far as free content on the internet, podcast, YouTube videos, stuff like that. Phenomenal. His books, phenomenal. I would definitely recommend checking him out again. His name is Ed Mylett. The Ed Mylett Show is his podcast. I'll put a link for that in the description. But I was listening to a talk given by him years ago, and he was talking about something that really got me thinking, and he was talking about the most important auction you've never heard of. And before I get into that, I want to put some things into perspective. I have a friend of mine who just got some very honestly just devastating news, and our choices have consequences, guys. But this friend of mine was involved in some things in the past that even though he's changed now, he's turned his life around. They ended up catching up with him, and he just lost a significant number of years due to having to serve some time. Great guy. Again, he's turned his life around, super sharp. I think he's going to do some amazing things with his life. But you know, I got that news yesterday, and I've been burdened since. But one thing that it really did for me is it put a lot of things into perspective. It put a lot of just reality back into my day-to-day living, because think about how much freedom, how much opportunity, how many chances, how much just the blessing that we have to wake up and live every single day. The fact that if we have a dream, we can go chase it. If we have potential, we can go express it. If we have an idea, we can go after it. If you have something that you really want to do, that's a burn within you, that's a goal, then you have the freedom to go out and express that. But not everyone has that freedom. There's been people whose time has been quote unquote cut short, as in they passed away young. I don't believe that God is surprised by anything that happens by any means, but there are people that from our perspective, it looks like, man, they should have had more time, but they didn't. I've lost friends from high school that were 15 years old when they passed away. I've sang at funerals of little kids that were 2 years old. Not everyone's blessed with the same amount of time. People pass away sometimes in their 90s. Some other people pass away when they're 19. There was a guy that goes to the gym that I go to recently. He passed away. He was in a motorcycle accident, and everyone that I heard talk about this guy said he was just a tremendous kid, and he got in a motorcycle accident doing stuff that he was always doing, just nothing new, nothing out of the ordinary. It was just an average day to him, and boom, his life is gone. Life is but a vapor, is what the Bible says, and we're here for a moment, and it's past. It's quick. But some people have more time than others, and I believe this sincerely. If you're still here, if you still have breath in your lungs, then you're here for a purpose. If you have goals, if you have things that you feel like, man, I'm supposed to accomplish more, I'm supposed to be doing more, I was put here for something, and you're yearning and you're discovering that there's a burn within you to do more, then you need to go out and pursue that, because you still have the blessing of time. How many older people would sit with you and tell you all the things they wish they would have done if they were still your age? The most important auction you've never heard of is the auction of life. And here's what I want to tell you. I want you to picture that every single person in the world right now is sitting in the same room. There's a room that can hold 8+ billion people, whatever the number is right now. And in October of 2023, there's a room that can hold every single person in the world. And somehow you're giving clarity that you can see every single thing that happens in this room. And I want you to picture that there's a person on stage and they are selling everyone's dream, everyone's biggest vision, everyone's biggest goal, the number one thing they would love to do with their lives. That person is selling that from stage. Every single person is bidding on something different because every single person has a different desire, a different set of goals, a different series of beliefs that says, man, I feel like I'm called to and supposed to do this. Every person has a burn within them that says, I want this. It might not be what the person next to you at work wants. It might not be what your friend who's in the same industry as you wants. It might not even be the same goals as the people in your sales organization or your spouse, but every single person has something that burns within them that they want to accomplish. Ben Franklin said that most men die at 25 and wait until 75 to be buried, meaning that they give up on their dreams. Henry David Thoreau said that most men lead lives of quiet desperation. T.E. Lawrence has a quote about the dreamers of the day being dangerous men because they can open their eyes and they can live with real clarity. They can actually live their dreams in reality. But all men dream, he said, but not equally. Most men dream in the quiet recesses of their mind. They dream while they're asleep. They don't dream with their eyes open. They don't dream about what they really want to do with their lives. They just have wishes. But if you're at this auction and you can see every single person in the room, billions of people, and their dream is being sold from stage. Again, it's different for every single person. When the price is low, everyone's hands are up. When the price goes from $1 to $3, everyone's hands are still up. $3 to $5, everyone's hands go up. But when the price gets a little bit higher, not everyone's willing to pay that much. See, just like a regular auction, if you were to go there and they were auctioning off a car, it's the car that you want, by the way. It's whatever your dream vehicle is. And you might say, well, Jesse, I'm not into cars, and that's okay. But if every car was $1, what would you drive? It's probably not what you're driving right now. It might be, and if so, that's awesome. Congratulations. I'm sincerely proud of you because you're doing what you want. But if every car was $1, would you drive what you drive now? If every house was $1, would you live where you live now? If every occupation worked the same amount of hours and made the same money, would you be doing what you're doing now? And for most of us, I can say this with the utmost confidence, for most people, about 95%, the answer is no. But the 5% people, they know what they want, they go after what they want, and they will do the work to get it. So here's what I'm saying. If that person is selling your dream car at this auction, they'll name a price where you're like, yeah, I'm willing to pay that. Another price, I'm willing to pay that. I'm willing to pay that price. Man, that's a little expensive. That's probably as far as I'll go. I'm willing to pay that, no more. Then the next price comes, and the next price, and the next price, and the next price. And what happens? What happens? Your hand goes down. And with your hand, more and more and more hands, the further away from the price you were willing to pay the auctioneer goes, more and more and more and more hands go down because only a few people are willing to pay whatever price to get the object they want most. And see, the auction of life, this most important auction that you've never heard of, is the same way. There's only a few people, about 5%, that are willing to truly pay the price, whatever it costs. And I've heard so many people speak about chasing their dreams, people who have achieved their dreams, by the way, and they will talk about how their wildest dreams are wildly, infinitely better to have achieved than they ever could have thought, imagined, or explained. That what they truly wanted with their life, the thing that the biggest vision they had, what they ended up actually getting was further, it was above, it was way, way, way bigger than they could actually have ever even have dreamed. And they talk about how great it is and how they'd be willing to pay the price over and over and over and over and over again. Let me ask you this. Have you put your hand down? Have you put your hand down in the auction of life? Because there's a dream that you want. Some people put their hands down and that they are inundated with the fact that that is a logical reality, that they did the right thing to put their hands down, that it wouldn't make sense, that if it was meant to be, then it would have happened. There's all these lies. There's all these rationalizations, which are rational lies, rationalize. There's all these rational lies. There's these truthisms. Man, it sounds so good when people say, well, if it was meant for you, if God would have wanted that, then you wouldn't have had any struggles. And if you were supposed to do it, then he would have given you the talent and all this different stuff. But how much are you really willing to pay for your dream? Because if you put your hand down, my goal with this episode is for you to get your hand back up. Get your hand back up. Stop settling for it. You had a dream once. I don't care what area it's in. You had a dream for a certain career, maybe a certain income level. Maybe you had a dream for a certain health, a certain weight. Maybe you had a dream or a goal for, man, I would love my relationship to look like this. Maybe you had a dream that you wanted your marriage to be of this quality. Maybe you had a dream that you wanted to raise your kids a certain way. Maybe you had a dream that you wanted to be at a certain place in your walk spiritually with God. Maybe you had a dream, you had a vision, you had something that you wanted, but at some point the price got high enough that you put your hand down. You said, I'm unwilling to pay that price. And the difference between the successful and the unsuccessful is successful people understand that success is three things. What do you want? What does it cost? Pay it. The rest of society, the people that don't succeed, that never, quote unquote, go after it, that never really get what they want, that talk about, when I was your age, I wanted fill in the blank. And they talk about how they settled for, and they try to make it sound so good and so logical, and here's why it didn't happen, and there's all these different things, but you should chase your dream. See, here's the deal. I work with a lot, and I mean a lot of different people. I do a lot of meetings. I speak a lot. I meet different people all the time. Everyone has different dreams. I don't care what their dream is. Everyone has different dreams. Everyone has things they want, but I meet more people that have a harder and harder and harder time expressing what they really want than you can imagine. See, if you were to go ask any 5-year-old or 8-year-old kid or 7-year-old kid, what do you want to be when you grow up? They would know. Now, it might be something that you would look at as an adult and say, well, that's just silly. They're just, of course they want to be a fireman. They want to be Superman, but like they have a dream and they have the absolute belief that it will happen. Is it hilarious and laughable sometimes? Absolutely. But they have a dream. They know what they want. Life has not beat it out of them yet to the point where they say, well, I really just, we want 2.5 kids and a white picket fence. And, I'd like to make, if we could just make enough to pay the bills and maybe take a good vacation every year. And if we can just maybe have 2 cars and I don't know, maybe a garage to park the cars in and, a 3-bedroom house. And, if we could, if we could make enough and save enough and invest right to retire by the time we're 65. And no kid's going to say that. Like no kid is going to look at you when they're 8 years old and be like, you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to work 40, 50 hours a week. I'd like to be stressed about money, like preferably a lot, but I mean like ideally all the time. I'd like to have credit cards that I can't pay off. I'd like to have a bank account that never makes me joyful to look at. I would like to have causes that I would love to give to and that I would love to give my time to and invest in and maybe places that I could donate to. And I would love to have things that I'm passionate about that I don't actually have enough time or money to pour into. And I'd like to have just enough time with my kids that they know I love them intellectually, but they're not really sure deep down in their hearts. And I'd like to watch about 4 hours of TV a day, have kind of an average marriage, and really never travel out of the state much. And ideally, if I could retire by like 65 and then live until I'm about 73, I mean, that would beat the statistics. So that would be good enough for me. Do you think that's possible? Like no one is at the auction of life buying that from stage. I work with a lot of people. I hear a lot of dreams, but few people are willing to pay the price for their dream. So again, has your hand gone down? Go take a hard look in the mirror. Has your hand gone down? Were you chasing something? There's something right now in the back of your mind that if you have a goal that you thought, man, it would be great to have that, but it would be great to do that with our business, but it would be great to hit that revenue goal, but it would be great to have that kind of marriage, that kind of health, that kind of fitness, that kind of bank account. It would be great to give to those things. It would be great, man. I would love to speak and to write books, and I would love to travel the world. It would be great to do this, but my family, but my education, but my industry, but my lack of education, but my bank account, but where I come from, but people like me, but I'm not this, I'm not that, but, and you've put your hand down. So you got to get your hand back up. You've got to be willing to keep your hand up long enough that you're the only person in the room who wants that dream that still has their hand up. There might be a few other crazies, but you know, if you were to look around the room with those 8 billion people, imagine how many people's hands are going to go down as that auctioneer goes further and further and further away from what's normal. I heard a speaker say this week, and he's a guy that's been financially free for many, many, many years, used to be a school teacher. Now he travels all over the country, gets paid to speak. Phenomenal, phenomenal guy. He's still a teacher. He just teaches people how to be successful, how to get the life they've always wanted. And he's speaking. His name is Mark. And he's speaking, and what he said is that they have a motto in their family. We're weird because normal is not working. That's their family motto. We're weird because normal's not working. And I'm like, man, I love that because it's so true. Because the normal people put their hands down early. They settle for what's rational. They settle for what sounds good, what's logical, what feels like the truth. They take other people's advice that quit too. I want you to remember this, and I'm wrapping up here. Number one, get your hand back up. You are in an auction, and it is for your dreams. How high of a price are you willing to pay? Because when you're laying on your deathbed and you have no time left, you're not going to wish you had worked more hours. You're not going to wish you'd spent more time at the office, that you'd driven more. I'm not going to be like, man, I would love one more hour on the road tonight. You're not going to wish that you'd watched more TV. You're not going to wish that you had spent more money recklessly. You're not going to wish that you would given your spouse a piece of your mind that one more time. You're not going to wish any of that stuff. You're not going to wish that you had spent another weekend away from your kids just trying to close one more major client. What you're going to wish is that you had time with your family, that you lived your morals, that you held your character, that you gave the best of you to the things that mattered the most, and that you chased your dream. You're going to want that feeling at the end of your life. Because otherwise, if you get to the end and you have not done what you know is right, and you did things that you knew were wrong repeatedly, you gave time away to things that never brought you a return, and you died with your song still in you. See, the richest place in the world, it's been said, is not the gold mines. It's not the diamond mines. It is the graveyards, because there are so many men that go to the grave with their songs still in them. There are books never written. There are sermons never preached. There are speakers who never got the courage to step on a stage. There are mentors who could have coached thousands of people. There are so many dreams that are dying every day, and eventually they end up beneath a headstone, and no one knows how that person could have impacted the world. So number one, you're in the auction of life. Understand it's the most important auction that you have never heard of. Number two, ask yourself, go look in the mirror. Did I take my hand down? Did the price get so high that I quit being willing to pay it? Number three, get your hand back up. The price you pay for your dreams will always, always, always be full price. Success never goes on sale, but it is always worth it. See, price is what you pay and value is what you get. And I can tell you that chasing your dreams is 100% worth it. My wife and I are getting so close to some major goals that we've set. And if you were to come to my house right now, my hand is up in this auction. I am working my butt off. I am willing to pay any price for my dream. If you were to come in my house right now, I have poster boards all over my house. I have them in my bathroom above the mirror. I have them on my wall. I have them where I see them when I go down the stairs. I have them at the top of the stairs. I have them all over the place. I have them over my TV because we don't watch TV, and right now I'm not even going to have movie nights because I am too focused on getting this goal. My hand is up. I'm willing to pay any price that it takes because I know the end result of having 100% time control, having all of the income that I could possibly want or need to give to the causes that are important to me. As I sat in church this evening and heard a man preach and heard about his ministry and heard the impact that he is making on people's lives, knowing how far he's traveling, knowing some of the places that he sleeps, knowing some of the work that he does and the things that he has to deal with all the time, knowing some of the burdens that he has financially, just knowing that if I continue doing what I'm doing, if I continue to keep my hand up as the price gets higher and higher and higher and higher, if I'm willing to do whatever it takes, the next time he's at our church and he has a financial need, I can be the one to meet it, and it won't even touch our monthly income. That next time someone says they need help with something, I can be the one to take care of it. Next time someone tells me I can't retire because I have such and such going on and they're in my family, I can be the one to make the difference. Next time I hear someone complain about something that time and money can fix, I can be there. Next time someone needs something and they're 1,000 miles away, I can hop in a plane, I can be there the same day because it doesn't matter the cost of the ticket. I can make it happen. I've got my goal posted all over my house because I know the price will be worth it. You're in the most important auction you've never heard of. Have you put your hand down? Why have you put your hand down? Get your hand back up. Be willing to pay any price and chase your dreams.